Hey everyone, one of the goals of Claysmile Entertainment is to elevate the level of transparency that is in our culture because every single person is fighting some type of battle. Every single person. Now, of course, some people are fighting battles that are more intense than others, but every single person is fighting some type of battle. And so, when you are very transparent about the battles that are in your life, you show other people that they're not alone, and also you show other people that there's hope. And so that is why I'm so very excited about this video series called Perfectly Imperfect. And on this episode, we have the one and only Lucy Taylor.
Hey guys, my name is Lucy, and I am a student at the University of Maryland. I'm a double major in theater and communications. I love my majors. I have a dream job as a party motivator at Claysmile Entertainment. I was just in Berlin this summer for a summer abroad, and I had an amazing time. Honestly, if you looked at my social media, you could think my life is perfect. And I do have these blessings and I do have these opportunities, but I also do face struggles every day with anxiety and ADD. For this presentation, I'd like to focus in on ADD because I feel as if it's a mental illness that is underestimated, and a lot of the time for women, it's sometimes even unrecognized. So ADD stands for attention deficit disorder. It's a type of ADHD, and the symptoms can vary in terms of extremeness. But for me, what I've experienced from it is that it's hard for me to focus, and everyday mundane tasks can seem like the most overwhelming thing in the world for me. Like, for some reason, it just is overwhelming and scary, the thought of sometimes making a bed. This causes me to sometimes be disorganized or forgetful, and the smallest things can make me feel really disappointed in myself just because it kind of is one of my insecurities. For example, let's say I forget to return my friend's phone charger that I borrowed from her. Sometimes, for some reason, I'll put it on my to-do list. I will set that phone charger out. I'll be like, I'm ready to give it back, but then I just end up forgetting. And then I feel so bad when I say I forgot because I'm a hardworking person. I don't know. It's not like me to. I don't want my friend to think that I'm disrespecting their stuff. I just overthink it, and I look at it as a bigger thing than it is. And I just end up feeling that I'm hard on myself and guilty just because these kind of things happen to me on an everyday basis. And when it starts affecting other people, it's that extra feeling of guilt. However, in my life, I've learned that my ADD has also been a blessing in disguise, and I've learned so much from having ADD. And I want to share 5 lessons with you guys that I've learned that I feel like can help anyone, for if they have ADD or not. But I'd like to share some stories that can help explain these lessons. So my first lesson is, if there is a will, there is a way. I promise you guys, there have been so many times in my life where I've had the will to do something. I've just had to find my own way of succeeding in it. For example, school. School was hard for me because it was hard to focus in class. I would just be in there in my daydreams, entertaining myself, not really paying attention in class just because of all the distractions given. But I had the will to be a good student. And so I had to find my way, and I had to go to extra help and learn from the teacher one-on-one because that was an environment that I could focus in, or I would go home and watch videos on YouTube to learn about the subjects because I still wanted to get good grades on the test. I still got good grades on the test. I was a good student. I am a good student. It's just that I have my own way of getting there, and that's okay. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. This goes into the next lesson, that there's no time to dwell on things you can't control. And this is something that I've been kind of having to remind myself in a lot of situations, but I've been I've been teaching myself how to kind of reassure myself of this. For example, like about a few weeks ago, there were a bunch of girls in the living room, and they asked me if I wanted to watch a movie with them. And I felt a little nervous already because sometimes if I'm not really in the mood to watch a movie, and it was a movie that I haven't seen, like I know sometimes it can be hard for me to focus on it if I'm not really interested in watching that movie. But I felt bad. I didn't think that they would think, I didn't want them to think that I didn't want to hang out with them. So I sat and I watched the movie for a little bit. But while I was watching, I was just I got upset because I was sitting there and I couldn't focus. I had like about a million thoughts like popping out of my head. But here were these girls who were just sitting there watching the movie, laughing at the jokes, getting into the characters, and honestly, I was jealous because I wanted to be able to do that in this moment, but I just couldn't. And so there was this moment where I just felt really bad and really overwhelmed and upset that I couldn't do this right now. But then I realized that that's okay. I don't need to watch a movie right now. It's really not a big deal. Like, so I went upstairs and I wrote a poem, something that I know I could do, something that I know I'm good at. And I said to myself, hey, maybe they're watching this movie right now, but I'm here writing this poem. And it reassured myself that it's really not such a big deal that I'm making of it. And I just realized that we all have our own strengths and weaknesses, so there's no time to focus on the weaknesses. The third lesson that I want to share with you guys is to replace judgment with empathy. Do you guys know that feeling when you like accidentally spill coffee on someone's favorite shirt, let's say, or just a nice shirt, you know, it's a feeling of, first of all, like embarrassment, like, oh my god, I'm so sorry I just did that, and guilt, but then it's like you didn't mean to, but you still feel bad. But I don't know, it's a hard feeling, to be honest, and with someone with ADD it's 10 times worse, just because it's the whole thing of you did something but you couldn't control it, but you feel bad, and it's just a lot of emotions. But what I'm getting at from this is when you're that person that gets coffee spilt on, or you know, whatever situation, reassure that person that you know it wasn't their fault, that it's okay, and I promise you that person, all they can do at the end of the day is offer to buy you a new shirt or offer to pay for dry cleaning, but there's just no time to make that person feel bad for what they did, because there was no guilty mind. They didn't mean to do something bad, you know? And when you empathize, when you start empathizing for people instead of judging the situation of what just happened, you start to free yourself. This comes on to the next lesson, that when you stop judging yourself, when you stop judging other people, you start freeing yourself from being judged. When you give people the benefit of the doubt and understand that there's not always a guilty mind present, and sometimes people just make mistakes, you start freeing yourself of the things that you can't control. Like when I stop judging other people, I stop judging myself for having ADD, and it's just a lot more peaceful, to be honest. And like, if you hear a group of people labeling a girl as bitchy or not nice because, let's say, she doesn't talk that much, just start say, hey, well, maybe she's shy, or maybe she doesn't want to talk right now. Like, you know, for all you know, she has social anxiety. You really never know what a person is going through. And if we just start realizing that they're not always so much, there doesn't have to be so much maliciousness attached to everything. And if you just accept things and people for who they are and give them the benefit of the doubt, you can choose empathy and understanding. And then it'll grow in your own situation. You'll you'll empathize for yourself, and I'll realize, I mean, I've been realizing, this is something, ADD is out of my control. But accepting myself for my ADD also let me realize all of the amazing things that it gives me, and it's encouraged me to be really proud of the person that I am today. The next lesson is that there's a piece of misfortune. There's a piece of fortune in every misfortune, and I started realizing this when I stopped judging myself for my own circumstances. I've realized that ADD has helped me be so creative. All the time that I've spent entertaining myself, I've learned to be an entertainer. I have out of the box thoughts that no one would ever think of, because sometimes I have impulse issues, but I just say my thoughts, and my thoughts are interesting and they're big, and a lot of people don't have those thoughts, and I'm lucky to be able to have this like entrepreneur mind. I have a scanning ability. Like, I'm very intuitive. I can notice when people need help, and when someone's senses are off. And this has also made me really hype people up, because I know that little bit of extra encouragement can do so much and go such a long way. And I know that I know that I don't really judge that much, because I know that in those moments, let's say where I left those girls in the living room watching TV, I know that I would have appreciated a benefit of the doubt, and not that I don't want to hang out with them, it's just that I just don't want to watch TV right now, like, there doesn't always have to be so much negativity added towards it. So not learning to judge my ADD has really helped me to not judge myself and to not judge other people. And it's really let me see that it is a blessing in disguise. I hope that this little presentation has encouraged you guys to stop judging yourselves for your own circumstances, and to never stop doing you. I know I'm gonna never stop doing me, and we should just all embrace it. Thank you.